the global monetary system reset. This has been a heavy spotlighted topic for quite some time around finance, and it ultimately goes all the way back to 2008 to now. Everything that we have been witnessing has accelerated the discussion, made the discussion even heavier, and I feel as though there is no way out beyond a reset. And in this video, I am going to be addressing all of this. Welcome to the channel, everyone. My name is Nick. For those who are new to the channel, hopefully by the end of this video, you do become a subscriber. So like I said, as we do really kind of think about a global monetary system reset, it goes all the way back to 2008. And a lot of people, including myself, will actually argue that we've never really bounced back from 2008. We just heavily inflated the money supply and propped up markets since, and nothing really changed. And now we're kind of looking at this and saying, like, what is the next path ahead? And even as we do really kind of look at more so recent events, the pandemic, which accelerated, the discussion around a reset, and then also, financial instability around our economy, bank collapses, all of this is hinting at a much larger problem. And now we have a lot of people saying like, hey, the Fed is about to cut rates. It doesn't make sense on the fact that everyone is kind of avoiding the big elephant in the room, which is the fact that, did we really bounce back yet? Did the economy improve? What's really going on? Well, let's first address the timeline when it comes to reserve currencies, because this gives us an insight going all the way back to 1450. And it's crazy when we look at the US dollar, because since 1921, it has been the reserve currency. And this is coming up on well over 100 plus years. And the typical average lifespan is about 94 years on global reserve currencies. Now, I have made the argument point around a reserve currency in a digital financial system. Because if we think about what's been being pushed around CBDCs, digital assets, stablecoins, crypto itself, it feels as though the elites want a digital-based financial system, and it seems as though we are moving towards that. So the question is, do we really need a reserve currency in a system that is digital? And the answer is no, we don't. The main purpose of a reserve currency is to have something of stable value, allowing us to settle transactions that take, a week or longer cross-border. That's the whole point of a reserve currency, is to maintain its stable value. But once we have instant settlements, a reserve currency is no longer needed. And I've always mentioned this. And if we think about this, right, everyone's looking at, all right, well, if we don't need a reserve currency, what is going to be the thing that is backing these new currencies, these new digital currencies? Well, everyone is looking at gold, and including myself, actually, I do believe that gold is going to back these new currencies, these new digital currencies, aka CBDCs. But everyone is looking at gold. They're not looking at the underlying technology that is making this a reality. More so those, tokenization platforms, the digital currencies that are going to settle things. That's where the real money is. That's where all the value is. Now, if we actually look here, we have something we've never seen before. This is from Vanex's Joe Foster on central banks buying gold. And if we actually look at a quote from him in this video, we have, I hate to say it, but I think we need a crisis. We already have that crisis. In fact, it's a debt crisis. I think the market really needs to get worried about the outlook for the economy, for the debt situation, or some escalation on the geopolitical scene. I think that's the type of thing that would really shake people up and get them to go to gold. Well, right now, we already have a lot of people, going to gold. They're buying up gold. And the reason for this is because of what the BRICS are doing, the de-dollarization push. We also know that the overall global economy is still, it's still not stable. We still have instability everywhere we turn. And also debt itself is skyrocketing. Inflation is still a big problem. So as we really kind of look at things, yeah, people are still clinging to gold. They're still trying to, find something of value that's going to hold or go up in value, because they want to combat inflation. They want to combat the instability of our current economy. But at a time that we do see central banks buying up a ton of gold, we also know that central banks are getting ready to launch digital currencies. 24 central banks will have digital currencies by 2030. This was back in July of 2023. And in fact, this number has grown significantly. And it's crazy when we think about how many central banks are actually exploring a digital currency, 94%. And this is from June 14th of this year. And this is from the BIS. And yes, CBDCs continue to be a focus of central banks at the same exact time that they are stockpiling massive amounts of gold. And people are not really questioning why. Why are they buying up gold and why are they exploring digital currencies at the same exact time that they're stockpiling up gold? Well, we've outlined a full blueprint of this new monetary system where we have CBDCs that are issued out on private ledger technology backed by fractionalized tokenized gold reserves. This is exactly how they get to a gold backed digital system where gold is the key thing that is valuing all of what we see on a day-to-day basis. Now, do I believe that they are going to revalue gold at that point? It definitely is something that is possible. We need to always have that in mind. But I do think that everyone should have some physical gold, some physical silver as well on the sidelines while looking into specific digital assets in crypto that have actual value and could be settlement currencies around this new digital financial system that is becoming a reality. And also remember what the IMF said back in November of 2023. This is from Kristalina Georgieva, and we have IMF says central bank digital currencies can replace cash. This is not the time to turn back. This is from the IMF themselves. We have a quote, "We have not yet reached land. There's so much more space for innovation and so much uncertainty over use cases." And this is the managing director of the IMF at the Singapore FinTech Festival in 2023. Now, currently, as of June of 2023, when they did put this report out, only 11 countries have adopted CBDCs. But now that we really kind of look at how big CBDCs are becoming, 94% of central banks exploring them, and we continue to see the BIS pushing forward as well, it feels as though, yeah, they are not trying to turn back. In fact, they're trying to accelerate this. And we already have the geopolitical tensions out there with, like I said, the BRICS and the US. There's war ongoing. I mean, a lot of what we are seeing on a day-to-day basis is pushing us into one big event that is going to reset the system. Over here, we have central bank digital currency development enters the next phase. Again, focus on the dates here. This was November 15th of 2023. This was November 20th of 2023. Again, this is from the IMF. Many of the world's monetary authorities are seeking more guidance on how best to pursue digital forms of central bank money. And then, of course, as we do get into 2024, we have the Finternet, the financial system for the future, being pushed by the BIS. Again, this is the central bank of central banks. Now, also, this is around April 15th. We get this on May 6th. Technological innovation, small steps and giant leaps, where they literally outlined what we need in order for this to become a reality. We need some big leaps. We need to leap forward. They did mention COVID. They also mentioned how, it accelerated the digital push, which we've talked about on multiple occasions on this channel as well. But down here, they're talking about this giant leap, right? They're giving us an example of this giant leap, and it's more so around tokenization. But the problem is that, this is not exactly what a giant leap is, in my opinion. And in fact, I don't think that they're giving us a full in-depth view on what they're addressing either, because they are addressing everything around the technology. They're also talking about, how we get to this tokenized digital society. But what they're not giving us is the events that need to happen in order to push us into and accelerate us into this new financial system. They use some code words here like quantum leaps and things like that. Again, where we are headed is towards a digital monetary system, but in order to get there, we need to collapse the old. I've always said this, right? A crash, a significant monetary crash, when everything just completely crumbles. Even blackouts, right? A lot of people talked about cyber attacks and blackouts. What really needs to happen is we need to crash, reset, and push. So crash the old system, reset the system, and push the new system. A lot of banks right now are already going digital. QR, payments, and you could even, send and receive through phones. Just touching each other's phones together, boom, send and receive money. That's becoming a big deal, and it's all to embrace digital financial systems. We're getting there. Even in terms of cross-border payments, right? They're still pushing CBDCs around cross-border payments. This is from the IMF. And again, focus on the dates here. This was May 6th. This is May 15th. It's all still focused on CBDCs. CBDCs are still the full focus of all these announcements. Now, also, over here, July 16th, from the BIS, Project Rialto improving instant cross-border payments using wholesale CBDC settlement. And what's crazier about all of this is still with the CPMI group, this is still with the G20 in mind, and this is also utilizing decentralized solutions, DLT, blockchain technology. It's crazy that more people are not realizing what's going on right now behind the scenes. And even over here, we have, in June, Saudi Arabia joined the China-led CBDC Embridge project. This past week, Saudi Arabia's minister said that Saudi Arabia is open to the petro yuan. We are in the middle of a digital transformation. Watch the influence of the petrodollar closely. And yes, as we really kind of look at what's going on here, de-dollarization, all of these big moves being made around finance and currency, it's all leading us down a path to a new reserve currency, but it's not going to be a new reserve currency. It's going to be a completely different financial system where there is no reserve currencies. You got to think about it like this, right? If we are moving towards Project Embridge, where it's, the petro yuan, it's not going to be a petro yuan. This is a CBDC project. Remember what Embridge actually is: connecting economies through CBDC. That was the original view. This got announced back in October of 2022. This is all through Ledger technology. And it's crazy because, again, right now everyone's pushing this to, say, that's it. The petrodollar's dead. We're seeing the petro yuan. We're going to see the yuan be the new reserve currency. No. When it comes to CBDCs, if every single nation has their own central bank digital currency and it's digital, these are all digital currencies, why do we need a reserve currency at that point? We don't. What we need is a decentralized bridge currency bridging all of these CBDCs. Now, a lot of people say it's going to be XRP, it's going to be XLM. There could be multiple bridge currencies. There could be even stablecoins that are, going to be settled just on platforms in a very quick manner. We already have that right now. But as we look at DLT, specifically USDC, for an example, right? Circle. USDC is issued out on Stellar. It's also issued out on a few other platforms. The underlying asset around that platform, for an example, like XLM on Stellar, it is so much more efficient than converting, a stablecoin to another stablecoin on like a centralized exchange. So as we think about CBDCs, a decentralized currency like XLM or XRP is perfect to bridge these CBDCs. It's perfect. But we're moving away from reserve currencies altogether. We no longer need a reserve currency if we're talking about, Project Embridge and the CBDC society, essentially. Now, remember what Frank Giustra told us, okay? August 29th. Yup, ignore history at your peril. This is a debt crisis always leads to a currency crisis, bringing inflation, asset and debt implosion, political and geopolitical instability, social unrest, and even wars. We're closer to the risk than ever. And yes, because it's all building up. It's very, very easy to see this. Just take a step back and look at the last 4 years. What has happened? It's all pressure, building up for one big event, or if you will, really kind of look at this, a giant leap. Just like the BIS told us. The BIS and the IMF is pushing for CBDCs. All of this is building up for a massive currency reset. Even over here, going all the way back to 2022, Frank Giustra, mining financer and friends with the Clintons. I'm absolutely certain we're heading into a global monetary system reset.
And that is I'm absolutely certain that we're heading into a global monetary system reset. And there's so much evidence. If you look at it in terms of chess, there are chess pieces moving all over the place. And although we can't see the end game, you know that the monetary system is in play. And I can give you numerous examples of the indications of where that is taking place with the expansion of the Shanghai Cooperation Organization, including other countries like Pakistan and India and Saudi Arabia, enlarging that trade bloc per se. You've got the BRICS coming together, talking about creating their own reserve currency as a basket of currencies, much like the SDRs at the IMF. And that is.
And yeah, I mean, listen, if we really think about this, I know that this was back in 2022 and you might be saying, well, oh, it doesn't mean anything. Well, guys, take a look at the last 4 years. It's all, everything has been building up for one big finale. Even more recently, July 1st, the BIS sends government debt warning before important elections. You know what's funny about this? Yeah, go over here. This is insane. Interest expense on US federal debt is now at a record $3 billion. We're talking about $3 billion per day. This is triple the amount paid 10 years ago and has doubled in just 2.5 years. Total annual interest cost on federal debt reached a whopping $1.1 trillion in Q2 of 2024. Even if the Fed cuts rates by 1% and all government bond yields decline by 1%, daily interest expense will still be at $2.5 billion. This would be more than double the average paid in 2009 to 2019. Debt crisis is an understatement. And yes, even if we actually look at this, this is the average interest expense on US government debt now, over $3 billion per day. Look at the overall chart versus 2008, for an example. This is absolutely insane. This is why we say that, yes, we are in a debt crisis right now. Yes, a major reset is coming. This is all building up to that giant leap to push a complete reset. And when it resets, when it comes back on, when everything is back to normal, we are on we're on a completely digital based system. Debt is completely wiped. A lot of people have made this argument, but it makes sense, especially with everything that we are reading, everything that we are seeing from the elites, from these organizations. CBDCs, with CBDCs comes the reset. And we already know that the IMF wants to replace cash with digital currencies. It might not happen immediately, but over time, this is their end goal. And as we do look at the current financial system, we already have everything in front of us that is a warning sign of what's to come. Just like this, everything that we are reading on this post is all here right now. We are much closer to this than many perceive. So with that being said, if you guys enjoyed this video, if you guys did, definitely leave a like, subscribe, turn notifications on because there's more free content. You guys are more than welcome to follow me on Twitter and join the free Discord down in the description below. And with that being said, guys, it's been Nick. Thanks for watching. Peace out.